Hello and welcome. Tonight, terrorists on renewed rampage in north, central and northeast regions kill 8 people in Taraba State as another community comes under attack in Plateau State days after the Christmas Eve killings in Bokos and Barkin-Ladi councils. Inspector General of Police pledges the setting up of a special squad to tackle frequent attacks on communities in Plateau State as federal government challenges the military to review its strategies against insecurity. Labour Party in Edo State denies asking one of the aspirants on its platform, former NBA President Olumide Akpata, to drop off the race for the party's ticket ahead of the state governorship election. And at least 30 people killed in what Ukraine says is Russia's missile bombardment across the country.
And on business news tonight, veteran Nollywood actor Richard Mofe-Damijo rings end-of-year closing gong as the NGX ranks 7th among the best-performing stock markets in the world.
On sports news tonight, Super Eagles coach Jose Peseiro settles for 25 players in his final squad for the Africa Cup of Nations holding in Cote d'Ivoire next month.
From Abuja, more state governors signed their 2024 appropriation bills ahead of the start of the new year in line with the January to December budget cycle.
Security remains on the front burner from the fallout of the recent killings in Plateau State to renewed attacks in Taraba State and the explanations in the aftermath of the violence. We begin in Taraba State, where gunmen suspected to be bandits have reportedly killed 8 persons in Fikiu, Pambo and Pambo Puri communities of Usa local government area of the state. This is according to the member representing Usa State constituency at the Taraba State House of Assembly, Mr. Tripuki Joshua, who is also raising concerns over the unabated killings of his constituents. Just 2 weeks ago, the lawmaker had raised an alarm over bandit attacks from the Republic of Cameroon.
This is what is left in Fikiu, Pambo and Pambo Puri communities of Usa local government area of Taraba State, following the latest attack on the community by gunmen. The area is in the southern part of Taraba State, bordering the Republic of Cameroon. The distance from some of the communities in the area to Jalingo, the state capital, is about 320 kilometers, and the people often face attacks from suspected bandits from Cameroon. The latest attack has led to the death of at least 8 persons.
I thought the security agents would have leveraged on these tips in deploying their men and officers to the restive area so to prevent further attacks by these blood-sucking demons. And regrettably, the attackers came back again through their usual routes yesterday around 4 p.m. and had their field day on the innocent people of Usa constituency. Sadly, 8 persons lost their precious lives, and 3 others are now in a critical situation.
The scene is similar in some communities in Yangtu Special Development Area in Taraba South Senatorial District, following the recent spate of attacks in the area. Schools are now places of refuge for some of the displaced persons. The people are already counting their losses, including the impact on food production, and they want the relevant authorities to address the situation.
More than 50 communities. Sir, it's a thing that it worry every one of us because more than, from security report, more than 700 people have been killed in those areas. 700. Those are the ones. This is from security. 700. So you know something that we worry. People have left their farms. They are taking shelter in the primary school. Okay, now if school resume, where are the students going to sit and learn?
The state government is already taking steps to address the situation.
There's an ongoing renovation for a troop of military that will be deployed to carry local government, and these militaries would take care of all the axes where we have crisis. And in addition to that, he has, if you look at next year's budget, he has budgeted a sum of money for security, a good sum of money for security.
The residents of the affected communities are hoping that more security can be deployed to the area to allow them rebuild their homes and resume their farming activities.
Meanwhile, in the aftermath of the Christmas Eve attack on some Plateau communities, the Inspector General of Police is promising to set up a special operations squad as part of security intervention to address insecurity in the state. The IGP, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, stated this at the Government House in Jos during the condolence visit to Governor Caleb Mutfwang and the traditional ruler, the Gbangwam Jos, as part of his tour to assess the security situation in Plateau State.
The aircraft conveying the Inspector General of Police touched down at the Yakubu Gowon Airport, Haipang. He is in the state to assess the security situation following the attack on some communities in Mangu, Bokos, and Barikin Ladi local government areas of the state. His first point of call is the Plateau State Government House, where he pays a condolence visit to the governor, Caleb Mutfwang. He announces plans to ensure improved security in the state.
We are deploying tactical units to assist you. We are deploying our intelligence unit. When you see the IG visiting with the DIG operation and the DIG intelligence, accompanied by the AIG of the zone, you should know that we...
Ensure is that let's for once demonstrate to the Nigerian people that the Nigerian state can deal with this issue.
His Royal Highness Emir.
The police chief also visits the palace of Gbangwam Jos, where the paramount ruler made a call on the government to train and equip the Nigerian police force with modern facilities to confront the criminals.
The Nigerian police needs a lot of revamping because we know very much about the underfunding, and you lack a lot of equipment with which to carry out your responsibilities. We cannot shy away about that. We have to talk about it so that government may step up and do something about that.
I believe that with this, we are going to dominate the affected areas and ensure that the criminals are brought to book and they don't come back for any attack.
Mr. Egbetokun also deployed a tactical unit to the state and ordered the temporary relocation of the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 4 to the state, alongside extra operational assets.
Now, just before the visit of the police chief and less than a week after the attack on Bokos and Barikin Ladi local government council areas, another community, also in Bokos Council, has been attacked by bandits. The chairman of Bokos Local Government Council Transition Implementation Committee, Mr. Monday Kasa, told Channels Television that the attack, which happened late on Thursday night, did not record any casualty due to the timely response from security operatives. According to him, security agencies responded to the distress call, but on getting to the community, several houses had already been burned. He adds, however, that the number of deaths from the previous attacks remain at 195. Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters has been explaining how bad the terrain, delayed response from troops during the attacks in Bokos and Barikin Ladi local government areas of Plateau State. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says that the troops received at least 36 distress calls during the attacks, but were handicapped by the difficult terrain and other factors. Major General Buba made the explanation during the year-end briefing of the Defense Media Operations in Abuja.
This location has over 350 villages which are mostly dispersed. The distance between some of these villages and troops location is over 90 kilometers. And sometimes it is difficult to access them because of the rugged terrain, which are mostly inaccessible to vehicles. On the 24th of December, at about 1900 hours, troops received a total of about 36 distress calls from diverse locations simultaneously. The distress calls reported a series of coordinated attacks by suspected herders, militants on the isolated villages in Bokos and parts of Barkin-Ladi local government area of Plateau State. Troops responded to the calls and were able to intervene in 19 villages, forcing the militants to withdraw. Unfortunately, the havoc had been committed before troops could arrive at other villages.
Over to the southeast and in Anambra State, where the police command has launched an intensive manhunt for armed insurgents who came in from a neighboring state and killed 2 police personnel yesterday, December the 28th. A statement from the State Police Command explains that the gang, which disguised in military fatigue and seemed to be on a kidnap mission, were jolted on seeing 2 armed police officers approaching their direction. The statement adds that the criminals opened fire on the officers who had moved ahead of the convoy they were escorting to decongest a gridlock. Other personnel were set to a return fire, careful not to hit many motorists who were in traffic, an action which forced the bandits to flee. The police-led mobile forward operating base, which had been on intensive patrol of the entire area throughout the Yuletide, promptly responded to the scene, where it recovered a Lexus SUV that the gang operated with and defused an improvised explosive device found in the vehicle. It also recovered an AK-47 rifle belonging to one of the slain police personnel. In part 2, after the break, Akwa Ibom State government inaugurates gunboats it donated to the Nigerian Navy and other security agencies to help in the fight against maritime crimes. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Terrorists on renewed rampage in North Central and Northeast regions kill 8 people in Taraba State as another community comes under attack in Plateau State days after the Christmas Eve killings in Bokos and Barkin-Ladi consuls. Inspector General of Police pledges the setting up of a special squad to tackle frequent attacks on communities in Plateau State as federal government challenges the military to review its strategies against insecurity. Labour Party in Edo State denies aspirants on its platform, former NBA President Olumide Akpata, to drop off the race for the party's ticket ahead of the state governorship election. And at least 30 people killed in what Ukraine says is Russia's missile bombardment across the country. More reactions coming from the federal government, which is challenging the nation's military to review its strategies, techniques, and procedures to contain security threats across the country. The Minister of State for Defense, Mr. Bello Matawalle, gave the charge during the decoration of senior Air Force officials in Abuja. 38 newly promoted officers were decorated with the ranks of Air Vice Marshal and Air Commodores.
Let me repeat that promotion comes with greater expectation and responsibility. Therefore, while the fanfare and jubilation continues, do not lose sight of the ongoing fight against terrorism, banditry, and other all forms of criminality. Invariably, your mandate as generals is to successfully execute all such operations necessary to preserve national security and its territorial integrity. Hence, it is expected that your upliftment to the rank of Air Commodores and Air Vice Marshals, you will redouble your effort to discharge your duty so we can quickly end all security threats in our dear nation, Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, believes the service cannot afford to fail Nigerians as he urges the officers to display selfless service and commitment to excellence.
Having been recognized by this elevation and bearing in mind the enormous investments in your training and exposure, you all must put on your thinking caps and chart workable strategies in our quest to transform the Nigerian Air Force into an agile and resilient force that effectively meets the air power demands of national security in all operational environments. You will also be required to continue to display exceptional integrity, selfless service, and commitment to excellence, which will ensure that the Nigerian Air Force records outstanding results in every area of competence and translate to successes in the various theaters of operations, with the resultant improvement in security for our people across the country. You must remember that we cannot afford to fall short of the expectations of all Nigerians. I therefore urge you all to bear in mind that failure should never be an option, so long as your determination to succeed remains strong.
To matters of maritime security, the Chief of the Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, says the challenge of ensuring secure waterways in the country requires collaboration and cooperation between the Nigerian Navy, other security agencies, and members of the public. He is therefore calling on members of the public to support the security agencies with credible information to help in the fight against maritime crimes. Rear Admiral Ogala made the remarks during the official launch of gunboats donated by the Akwa Ibom State government to the Nigerian Navy. Adi Kolabasi.
It's a gathering of senior officers of the Nigerian Navy, the Akwa Ibom State Governor Umueno, and other top state government officials for the commissioning of patrol gunboats donated by the Akwa Ibom State government to enhance maritime security on the waterways.
Please keep celebrating him.
Describing the event as strategic, the Chief of Naval Staff explains that the gesture points to the importance the state government attaches to maritime security, noting that the gunboats will be deployed to fight against all thefts and other maritime security challenges.
I want to assure you that the Nigerian Navy, under my watch, will leave no stone unturned to reverse the menace of oil theft particularly, and other forms of maritime crimes within the waters of Akwa Ibom State and by extension the nation in general.
The commander, NNS Jubilee Ikonabasi, is also full of gratitude to the state government over the development.
You have gone out of your way, Your Excellency, to ensure that you support the security agencies by procuring 14 gunboats to support us in ensuring that the maritime space of Akwa Ibom State is safe. Your Excellency, I want to say a very big thank you and wish you more grace to your elbows, God's blessings, and may you continue to move up and forward.
For the Commissioner for Internal Security, retired General Koko Essien, the donation of the boats is part of the government's efforts to ensure overall security of lives and property.
These patrol boats will help to solve this waterway security and improve the lot of our fishermen, improve the lot of water travelers, improve the lot of the coastal communities.
Then more assurances from Governor Eno of his administration's commitment to the security and development of all parts of the state.
We are determined to ensure that our state continues to enjoy the status of a safe and secure subnational from land and on sea. Let me again applaud and celebrate the security agencies for the great synergy we have enjoyed, and I know that we can always count on you to help us maintain peace in our state.
With the glory of God, I hereby commission the boats.
The boats will be used by all security agencies, but coordinated by the Nigerian Navy.
Away from security matters in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, it's more condolence messages for the family and friends of the late Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, as governors of the Southwest have joined other Nigerians to commiserate with the family. The governors of Osun, Ogun, and Ekiti states were led to the residence of the late governor by the Oyo State Deputy Governor Bayo Lawal. Addressing journalists after the visit, Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State says the Governors Forum will accord him a befitting burial.
Governor Akeredolu will be sorely missed by all of us. The void that he's left will be very difficult to fill by everyone. Collectively, we will be partly, majorly responsible for the funeral rites in according him the farewell that he deserves. We have expressed out to the family. We'll be setting up a joint committee of the Southwestern states to work with the family and collaborate with the government of Ondo State to ensure that we give him a deserving farewell.
Now, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who could not join his colleagues, later visited the Akeredolu family to condole with them as well.
We are as pained as Ondo State themselves and as the family, because that's our leader here. But having said that, we certainly cannot but thank God Almighty for a life, well spent, at the highest level of political, opportunity that God Almighty had given to him to have served his people, politically, to have served at the highest level of his profession as a chairman, of NBA in the country, and to have also been a youth leader during his time. So I believe in everything there is still a place of gratitude to God. And so I've come here and we've assured the family and also the state government that we're not leaving this for them alone.
Now let's head to the nation's capital, where Markwe Ogun-Yusuf is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Markwe.
Hello, Ayo. Well, we're turning our attention to politics in Edo State, where the state chapter of the Labour Party has denied claims that it has asked one of the aspirants on its platform, former NBA President Olumide Akpata, to drop off the race, maintaining that the purported source of the claim is not a member of the party. The publicity secretary of the party in Edo State, Comrade Sam Uropa, made this clarification in an interview with Channels Television in Benin City.
Labour Party Edo State did not ask any aspirant to stay off the race. That is false. We are taken aback and shocked to see that news trending online, purportedly signed by one Bayomi Arabambi, who is even not a member of Labour Party, not even from Edo State. It's not an indigenous of Edo State. He does not even play politics. You don't know where he's from. And so he does not even have any local standing. To have issued a statement supposedly on behalf of Labour Party Edo State, claiming that we have asked the former NBA President Barrister Olumide Akpata to stay off or stay clear from the governorship. That is false. Edo State Labour Party never did that. We never issued a statement like that. And all our aspirants, including Barrister Olumide Akpata, the former NBA president, they are all intact. They are all free to contest, and so they are in the race.
Meanwhile, Mr. Olumide Akpata has also debunked accusations that he sponsored the attack on some leaders of the Labour Party belonging to the Lamidi Apapa group in Edo State. Mr. Akpata denies any link with the attack and described the accusation as an attempt to malign his person. Mr. Akpata was speaking during our political program, Politics Today.
I'm but one of probably 30 aspirants seeking the Labour Party ticket in Edo State. The dispute in the Labour Party predates my entry into that party. So I fail to understand why I'm being singled out by Mr. Arabambi and his co-travelers there's really something wrong here, and I think we must get to the bottom of it. And I think he's maligning me. He has even asked that my association, the NBA, looks into my conduct. And I'm actually quite shocked at, that he would have the gall to mention that on national television. What conduct are we talking about? I am one of 30 aspirants. I hope you know the genesis of what. I'm actually not even in Benin as we speak. I'm on break like everybody else. And the first thing we saw yesterday was the report that Labour Party has asked Akpata not to present himself as a candidate of the, as an aspirant in the Labour Party because he is a mole of Governor Obaseki. They actually issued a 20-paragraph document that purported to detail what their plans are for elections in Edo State. And in paragraph 19, they actually singled me out for all the aspirants to say, don't show yourself, don't present yourself in Labour Party because you are a mole of Governor Obaseki.
Still ahead on the news at 10, veteran Nollywood actor Richard Mofe-Damijo performs end-of-year closing ceremony as the NGX ranks 7th among best-performing stock markets in the world. Well, that's some business news. Do join us again. Welcome back. The governors of Adamawa, Bauchi and Nasarawa State are the latest to sign their 2024 appropriation bills into law, while Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa signed an appropriation bill of 199.9 billion naira. His counterparts in Bauchi and Adamawa states, Governors Bala Mohammed and Umar Fintiri, signed a 300 billion naira and a 225.8 billion naira budget into law.
Members of the Bauchi State House of Assembly gathered at the government house to witness the signing of the 2024 appropriation bill into law by Governor Bala Mohammed. Governor Mohammed put pen to paper with a promise to increase investment in infrastructure and human capital development in the state.
We have deliberately set in place a plan to develop our infrastructural base in order to sustainably grow our economy going into the future. To support that, we have set to develop the human capital resources of the state through the prioritization of education, healthcare, delivery, and the provision of other basic social services. This is in addition to our plan to promote agricultural production, attract commerce and investment, and pay more attention to all other sectors that I may not be able to mention today.
Governor Abdullahi Sule also performed a similar exercise in the government house, Lafia, the state capital. Education and health are key priority areas for the administration.
This is believing that our primary responsibility as government is to ensure the protection of lives and property as well as provision of dividends of democracy to the good people of Nasarawa State. We shall continue to leverage on our policy document as it relates to education, health, agriculture, security, economic empowerment, and general infrastructure as prioritized and captured in the budget.
Governor Umar Fintiri of Adamawa State is promising to build on the foundation he has laid in his first term in office as he signs the 225.893 billion naira budget into law.
We will continue to work hard. We will continue to ensure that the best that our people are expecting is what is provided for them. I don't know how to provide low-profile project for our people. Our people are yearning for the best. We're the best. And we'll continue to ensure we give them the best.
The governor is promising that every local government area in the state will benefit from projects in the budgets.
While staying with the economy, the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, the NIPC, has been speaking of its interventions in a bid to address the challenges confronting the investment climate in the country. Head of Policy Advocacy at the Commission, Mr. Abayomi Salami, explains that the NIPC has been interfacing with members of the Manufacturers Association and the Central Bank to seek ways of making the nation's investment climate better. He was responding to questions from journalists in Abuja.
The investment climate that is really challenging, making so many private sector organizations, companies to be leaving the countries because of the particular exchange rate. And you know that this thing did not start today. And again, the government of the day did not deliberately decided to make the investors to leave the environment. But one thing that NIPC have decided to do is that we have already even had, our executive secretary have had a meeting with the DG of Manufacturer Association of Nigeria. Because instead of just going after the Pharmaceutical Association, this one, that one, the man is the umbrella body of the manufacturing industry. And again, with the DG, and himself own up to the fact that if we talk about challenges, they are endless. But what can we do to make sure that things change for the people? And a lot of work are going on underneath. And we are trusting God that by next year, hopefully it will begin to have a positive impact.
Well, indeed, so many hopes for the new year, Ayo. It's back to you.
Many thanks, Markwe. Occupants of the Police Officers' Wives Association's Phase 2 shopping complex located at Ikeja in Lagos have protested an alleged decision of the Nigeria Police to demolish the complex. The protest is a follow-up to earlier agitations by the occupants to get the authorities to rescind the plan, which has thrown the tenants and beneficiaries of the property into panic, especially coming despite a restraining order of the court secured last Monday. Meanwhile, efforts to get a reaction from the Lagos State Police Command, including a visit to the command headquarters, proved abortive as the police public relations officer Benjamin Hundeyin declined comments. In the Niger Delta, health is receiving a major attention of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, which says it has secured a partnership agreement with the World Health Organization for its medical intervention across communities in the region. The NDDC Managing Director Samuel Ogbuku, who stated this while interacting with journalists in his office in Port Harcourt, explained further that the WHO has agreed to provide medical supplies and health personnel for the medical outreach, which will commence early next year. He also reeled out the achievements recorded by the Commission since his appointment in January.
The World Health Organization have agreed to partner with the NDDC on our health programs, which they even want to be part of our medical outreach too, in order to add professionalism and credibility to what we are doing. Because you know what it means for us to do medical outreach, and the World Health Organization is part of it. The whole idea is that so that those vaccines that we don't have, that we don't have access to, they can also bring it so that our people can benefit from those vaccines. We have completed a couple of projects that are ready for commissioning, notably the Okitipupa transmission station, which we have completed in Ondo State. We have finished payment for the Ogbeanembe Road, which has been ready too. But we had some exposures to Cetraco, which we have completed all the payments. We have completed a lot of some other smaller projects, which most of them are also ready for commissioning in all the states in the Niger Delta. Some of them 5-kilometer roads, 3-kilometer roads, 4-kilometer roads. Recently we commissioned the aquaculture center in Umuahia. So there are a lot of projects we have completed within this period, and ushering 2024, we have already set up a committee that have drawn a list of projects to be commissioned in the 9 states, which will start commissioning of projects from the beginning of 2024.
Right about now, it's time for some business news with Will Ibong.
Thank you, Ayotunde.
We begin with the chairman of BUA Group, Mr. Abdul Samad Rabiu, affirming that his cement company would sell a bag of the products, that's cement, at 3,500 naira in 2024, as earlier promised. He made this known after meeting with President Bola Tinubu in Lagos, where he assured that the firm, which is listed on the Nigerian exchange, is targeting about 6 million tons of cement annually. The chairman of BUA Group also disclosed that President Tinubu will commission its cement plants in Sokoto at any moment.
The price that we have said will be 3,500 naira per bag, ex-factory, of course, plus VAT, plus VAT. And then delivered to customers depending on the region, because as you know, the factories that we have, one is in Edo State, the other one is in Sokoto State. So for example, if you want us to deliver cement to you from Sokoto, say, to Lagos, or from Edo to Adamawa or to Maiduguri, the distance is quite far. So depending on the distance and depending on the location, the price changes. But we intend to keep that promise. The important thing is for us to ensure that we maintain a price that is affordable, number one, and also that Nigerians will get at affordability. So we are working on that, and I'm sure that we'll be able to achieve that.
That's the sound of the closing gong at the Nigeria Exchange Limited being rung by veteran Nollywood actor Richard Mofe-Damijo to signify the end of trading activities for the year 2023, as the NGX ranks 7th among the best performing stock markets in the world. At the close of Friday's session, the highly respected movie star and writer, in an interview with journalists, revealed the reasons why actors in the entertainment industry are having more interest in the domestic stock market. On his part, the Chief Executive Officer of the NGX and newly appointed Chairman-designate of the Exchange Group, Mr. Temi Pupola, pointed out some of the factors that drove the stock market higher in the outgoing year and the expectations for 2024.
It's soft power. The entire world is looking beyond, mineral deposits, looking beyond gold and agricultural products. People want to consume content. The machine is a beast. It must be fed. It feeds on content. I'm sure you are aware of how many Nigerians make money on YouTube now. There are millionaires. There are millionaires in dollars. On YouTube today. So you need to have that machine oiled, and that is why you see the interface or the convergence between entertainers and, of course, the stock exchange. And our business is called show business. There's show, there's business. There must be a convergence, and when it converges, those in charge of business must come, take a look, closer looking with a view to capitalizing or making capital of what we have already started creating.
We see a government that is committed to capital markets. As a matter of fact, as you would know, performance this year was over 40-odd%. And one of the things that drove that was very strong pronouncements by the government of the day with very strong reforms. We expect that to carry through. You also spoke to some of the government agencies like the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, who have spoken very publicly as to what they would be doing with the capital markets, how the capital markets will be used to raise revenues, how the capital markets will be used to hold some of their portfolio companies to better governance standards, how the capital markets will be used to create liquidity for the government. So frankly speaking, as I think out, it's a lot more positives, to be honest.
Still on the domestic markets, let's check out today's close with Ini John Mekwa.
Welcome to the final stock market report for 2023. And I'm happy to report a bull market on this last trading day. Earlier today, the market closed at 12:30 p.m. and we had Richard Mofe-Damijo ring the bell. Interesting one. And he rang the bell to a green close, 0.36% at 74,773.85. And the market cap
might just slip into 41 trillion naira in the first week of 2024. That's what we look forward to. We thank MTN Nigeria for this positive movement. That stock gained 1 naira 50 kobo on each of them at the close of trade to close at 264 naira. But MTN didn't do it alone. We had some giants, for instance, in the banking sector, GTCO, Zenith Bank. They were positive today and closed at 1.12% at the close of trade. Unfortunately, Dangote Sugar and Nigerian Breweries had some profit taken there, and so it was in the red. Oil and gas, a positive movement. So glad to report a green market on this last day. Perhaps we'll slip the 41 trillion naira the first week of 2024. I'll see you then. The bull rages on.
And that's it on Business News. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Will. At least 30 people have been killed and dozens wounded in a wave of Russian strikes across Ukraine, including the capital, Kiev. Here's Simon Puzi with other international stories and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's military says Russia launched a massive attack with 158 drones and missiles. The Air Force says it has never seen so many locations targeted simultaneously. Ukrainian officials here saying 4 people were killed and more than a dozen injured in an attack on Dnipro. Smoke rose over the capital with 2 people confirmed dead in Kyiv, with more people thought to be trapped under rubble at a warehouse damaged by falling debris. And firefighters rescued residents, including this small dog, from an apartment block in Odessa after drones struck the area. Cities across the country were attacked, including Zaporizhia in the south and Kharkiv in the east. An estimated 150,000 Palestinians are being forced to flee areas of central Gaza, the UN has said, as Israeli forces advance on refugee camps there. Here, aerial footage showing displaced Gazans under tarpaulins in Rafah near the border with Egypt. Israel's military recently expanded its ground offensive to target Burej and nearby Nuseirat and Maghazi camps. Egypt has confirmed that it has put forward a 3-stage proposal to stop the fighting, which ends with a ceasefire. A Hamas delegation is said to have arrived in Cairo to give its response to the plan. Maine's top election official has ruled that Donald Trump cannot run for president next year in the state, citing a constitutional insurrection clause.
We do not want to see our election victory stolen.
Secretary of State Shenna Bellows said Mr. Trump was not eligible because of his actions leading up to the U.S. Capitol riot in 2021. Maine now joins Colorado as the 2 states to ban Mr. Trump from the ballot. The decisions increase pressure on the U.S. Supreme Court to weigh in. Colorado votes reliably Democratic. However, Maine is more politically competitive and would be more significant for Mr. Trump, the Republican frontrunner, to lose. Japanese shares notched their biggest annual gain in a decade as the Tokyo Stock Exchange held a ceremony to mark the end of the trading year. Special guest Hideki Kuriyama, manager of Japan's 2023 championship-winning World Baseball Classic team, rang a ceremonial bell and attendees clapped to mark the end of trading for 2023. Japan's benchmark Nikkei climbed 28% to post its largest yearly gain since 2013. The US military have launched its secretive X-37B robot spaceplane.
3, 2, 1. Engines full power, and liftoff of
The plane blasted off from Cape Canaveral atop a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket, which is capable of delivering it to a higher orbit than ever before. The US Space Force conducted the launch, which came after more than 2 weeks of false starts and delays due to poor weather and technical issues. It's the spaceplane's 7th mission since 2010. It is also carrying a NASA experiment to study how plant seeds are affected by prolonged exposure to the harsh environment of radiation in space. Massive waves have battered the coast of California, with meteorologists warning that worse is yet to come. Storms in the Pacific Ocean whipped up coastal swells that led to flooding and evacuation orders. In Ventura County, a rogue wave was caught on video hitting the seawall at the beach at the end of the street, causing 8 people to be transported to local hospitals with minor injuries. Meanwhile, farther north, crews worked to clean the debris left by rough waves in Santa Cruz County. And with New Year's Day just around the corner, thousands of volunteers have descended on Decorators Village in California to help decorate dozens of floats for the annual Rose Parade. This year's Rose Parade theme is celebrating the world through music. The floats will be decorated entirely with only dry and fresh materials as they proceed down Colorado Boulevard. For many senior volunteers, the unique experience and camaraderie is what they look forward to every year. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
In the world of sports, let's get things started with updates from the Africa Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles head coach, Jose Peseiro, has announced the 25 players in the final team list. The Portuguese is settling for a usual suspect in a roster that has 3 goalkeepers, 9 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 8 forwards. The 3-time African champions will be targeting a 4th AFCON title in Cote d'Ivoire next month. Meanwhile, defending champions Senegal have called up 6 players from the EPL alongside Sadio Mane. The 27-man team also includes Middlesbrough goalkeeper Seny Dieng and Rangers forward Abdallah Simon. Now, Senegal have been drawn in Group C alongside Cameroon, Guinea and Gambia. Manchester City have not had the ideal start in their bid for an unprecedented 4th EPL trophy, but manager Pep Guardiola says they are up for the challenge with rich experience from their previous title runs. City are 4th in the standings with a game in hand after just 2 wins in their last 7 matches. They trail league leaders Liverpool by 5 points. And that's Sports News tonight. It's back to Ayotunde.
Thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. There was more outrage today as terrorists renewed rampage in North Central and Northeast regions, killing 8 people in Taraba State as another community came under attack in Plateau State. And the Inspector General of Police has pledged the setting up of a special squad to tackle frequent attacks on communities in Plateau State, just as the federal government has challenged the military to come up with new strategies to tackle insecurity in the country. That's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. From all of us here, have a good night and stay safe.